sides were painted pictures of the sun, moon, stars, plants, trees, and animals.
And inside this wigwam, there was said to live an individual who was very rich, powerful,
And supposedly handsome.
however, no one could see him, for this man was invisible.
No one could see the invisible one except his sister, who lived there too and tended to his many needs.
Rumors of the invisible one's charming wealth drew many girls from the village hoping to marry her. But first he had to pass the test of his sister.
My brother thanks you for your dedication and attention. He is indeed very fortunate to have so many earnest admirers. However, in order to walk with my brother beside the glittering lake, you must have seen him. Only the one who recognizes his appearance may marry the invisible one. And so I ask of you, have you seen my brother, the invisible one?
And so, time passed.
Now, on the far side of this village, there lived a poor man who had 3 daughters. The 2 older daughters were cruel and hard-hearted. They'd make the youngest sit by the fire and feed the flames.
As the fire would pop and spark, the embers would fall upon her, leaving burns and scars.
My daughters, what is the meaning of this? How is it that my youngest has become so disfigured? Have you been treating her cruelly?
Oh no, Father. We tried to warn her. We tried to warn her, Father. But she wouldn't listen. She insisted on sitting so close to the fire. We told her not to. But she fell. She fell in despite our warnings, Father. It's her own fault. It's her own fault. Her own fault.
And because he didn't want to believe that wickedness could live in the hearts of his daughter, he closed his eyes to cruelty inflicted upon his youngest.
In time, her hands became burnt and scarred. Her arms, too, grew rough and damaged. Even her face was marked by the fire, and her long, black, beautiful hair hung ragged and charred.
You're so ugly. Look at your face and hair. Who would ever want you? No one, you rough-faced girl.
One day, it came into the head of the 2 older sisters that they should marry the invisible one.
Why is it that the invisible one has not yet married one of the girls in the village? Why, it's because they're all too ugly. How stupid. We are far more beautiful than those silly girls. Beautiful and intelligent. Sister, why don't we allow the invisible one to rule one of us? Yes, we deserve not the greatest of the invisible one. But we are both so beautiful, sister. How can he ever choose between us? He would not be it. What will we do? The answer is simple, my sister. The invisible one will have to marry the both of us.
And so, with the idea firmly planted in the barren ground of their minds, the 2 vain sisters went to their father.
Father, Father, give us some necklaces. Give us some new buckskin dresses. Give us some pretty beaded moccasins. Father, Father, give. Give. We're going to marry the invisible one. The invisible one. We're going to marry the invisible one.
Though the father was poor, he gave his daughters
most elegant and comfortable moccasins were molded for their arrogant feet.
And the two sisters did not care that it took all that their father had in order to provide them with what they wanted. But the father didn't mind because he wanted his daughters to be happy.
Dressed in their finest, the two girls marched to the village. All the people pointed and stared at these two who were so elegantly dressed.
Look at those beautiful girls.
What lovely cloth. What regal figures.
Their hearts will certainly be of equal beauty.
Surely they shall marry the invisible one.
And if those two girls were proud and hard-hearted before, they were even prouder now. They walked haughtily through the village. At last they came to the wigwam of the Invisible One, and there was his sister, waiting.
Why have you come?
Why, to marry the invisible one.
That's why we're here.
If you want to marry my brother, the invisible one, you ought to have seen him. Tell me, have you seen my brother?
Of course we've seen.
Can't you see how pretty we are?
Can't you see the beautiful clothes we wear?
Oh yes, anyone can see that we've truly seen the invisible one.
All right. If you think you've seen my brother, the invisible one, tell me, what is his bow made out of?
His bow. His bow. We know, we know, we know. What should we say?
Let's say it's made of the oak tree.
It's the great oak tree.
No. No! Tell me, if you think you've seen my brother, the invisible one, what is the runner of his sled made out of?
We know.
We know.
We know.
What should we say?
Let's see. It's the willow branch.
It's the green willow branch.
No. No! You have not seen my brother, the invisible one. Now go home.
Just ask the sparrow.
Oh, we've seen him.
We've seen him.
Just don't ask us these silly questions.
All right, come with me.
The invisible one's sister took them into the great wigwam and sat in the seats furthest from entrance, the guest seats.
Soon they heard footsteps coming along the path. Then something stepped inside.
Though they heard breathing, they still couldn't see a thing.
The two girls sat there, their eyes wide. They didn't see a thing more. And in the morning they had to go home. Ashamed.
Father, may I please have some beads? May I please have a new buckskin dress and some pretty moccasins? I'm going to marry the invisible one, for wherever I look, I see his face.
My daughter, I'm sorry. I gave all that I had to your sisters. I have no beads left for you, only some little broken shells. I have no buckskin dress. And as for moccasins, all I have left are my own, old, cracked, and stretched up pair from last year. And they're much too big.
Father, you are so loving and generous. I know that you would give me anything if it were in your power. Whatever you can spare, I can use. taking the little broken shells, she strung a necklace.
She stripped birch bark from the dead trees and made a cap, a dress, and leggings. Then with a sharp piece of bone, she carved in the bark pictures of the sun, moon, stars, plants, trees, and animals.
She took the moccasins, went to the lakeshore, and soaked them in the water till they grew soft. Then she molded them to her feet, but they were still too big and flat as she walked.
Look at that ugly girl.
Look at her strange clothes.
Shame.
Go home, you ugly girl.
Don't let her marry the invisible one.
Shame!
But the rough-faced girl had faith in herself and she had courage. She didn't turn back. She kept on walking through the village, and just as the sun was sinking into the bowl of the water, arrived at the shore of the lake where the Invisible One's sister was waiting.
Now, this poor, small wretch, in her mad attire, with her singed hair, and her face is full of burns and scars, as there are holes in a sieve, was, for all this, most kindly received by the sister of the Invisible One.
But this noble girl knew more than the mere outside things, as the world knows them. She could look into your eyes and see directly into your heart.
And so she welcomed the rough-faced girl dearly.
Ah, my sister, why have you come?
I have come to marry the Invisible One, for wherever I look, I see his face.
If you have seen my brother, the invisible one, tell me, what is his bow made out of?
His bow? Why, it is the great curve of the rainbow.
And tell me, if you have seen my brother, the invisible one, what is the runner of his sled made out of?
The runner of his sled? Why, it is the spirit road, the Milky Way of stars that spread across the sky.
Ah, you have seen him. Come with me.
And taking the rough-faced girl by the hand, she led her back to the wigwam and sat her in the seat next to the entrance, the wife's seat.
Then they heard footsteps coming along the path, closer and closer. The entrance flap of the wigwam lifted up, and in stepped the invisible one.
At last we have been found out. And oh, my sister, she is beautiful.
And so the sister took the rough-faced girl to the banks of the lake, which glistened in the shimmering light of the moon.
Come, my sister. Bathe in the waters of the lake.
The rough-faced girl stepped in the shining water, and as the water touched her skin, her scars washed from her body. Her skin grew smooth again, and her beautiful, long black hair turned long and glossy as a raven's wing.
Now anyone could see that the rough-faced girl was indeed beautiful, as her inner beauty broke forth for all to see.
Come, I will take you to the place where you and my brother are to be wed.
And as they followed the path away from the lake, so too did the sisters follow theirs to it.
Did you see that, my sister? Yes, I saw that. That water made her beautiful. Her! She truly was ugly before. Water? It must be magic. Magic? Think.
before them, a transformation began to occur.
But instead of becoming more beautiful, their true inner nature shone through. All the wickedness, cruelty, and ugliness that they had emanated began to become apparent.
Their skin and hair curled and twisted in strange forms.
The two sisters stepped in the waters of the lake and looked at what the other had become. At that moment, they realized their own wickedness. For the first time in their lives, there was a moment of quiet and modesty.
And on that day, the day of the wedding, the magic did not stop at the banks of the lake.
It flowed forth and washed over each member of the tribe in turn.
And as it affected each person it touched, they too were transformed into that which they held in their hearts.
The jealousy,